A wave of allegations and denials coming out of a party fundraiser hosted by a Jewish political group in Toronto on Thursday night. In a Facebook post, former Toronto mayoral candidate Sarah Thomson claims current mayor Rob Ford made lewd comments and accused him of putting his hand on her behind. In fact, she posted this picture, the one you're looking at right now, to accompany the claims. Thomson later repeated the accusations on a local radio show. Ford is firmly denying the accusations, and in fact, he's got some other city councillors at this point backing him up. On the same station, another city councillor said Thomson admitted to trying to set up Ford at the party. Then he released a statement, Mayor Rob Ford did in the morning. It says, early this morning, false allegations were made regarding a number of disgusting actions. I'm shocked, dismayed, and surprised. I can say without hesitation that they're absolutely, completely false. What's more surprising is that a woman who's aspired to be a civic leader would cry wolf on a day where we should be celebrating women across the globe. Joining us now in studio, Toronto Sun-Common editor Adrienne Batra, former press secretary for Rob Ford. Glad to have you with us today.
Oh, good to be here.
Okay, so I want to start with maybe just where are we at? Where are we at with these allegations coming from Sarah Thomson?
Well, as of yesterday, since her story had changed so many times throughout the course of the day, Caryn, where we ended up was that she had gone on radio and said, I'm now prepared to take a lie detector test to make sure that the public knows that the allegations I'm making and this very serious allegations that she's hurling towards the mayor, that she thinks that a lie detector test will sort of absolve her of any question that so many people have about these accusations. Now, I do want to say one thing on a quick personal note. You mentioned I was the mayor's press secretary. I spent many hours with the mayor. A year and a half I was with him on the campaign and during his time and my time in the mayor's office. Never once did he ever give a hint that this is the type of behavior that he engages in. And so I was going to ask
you, because she refers to this lewd behavior. She refers to her behind being, grabbed. So
never.
Completely.
Never. In fact, Rob is a bit awkward around women. He's kind of an awkward guy. All you have to do is look at any of his public appearances or his media scrums. And I don't try to be flippant about that, but that's just sort of how he is.
Right.
But I think that there's another aspect to this that is really being lost here. And that has to do with Rob's family life. This affects his wife.
Absolutely.
This is an accusation that could, forget all the football stuff, forget all the nonsense that goes on at City Hall. Accusations like this can ruin someone's life and family.
Right.
Political career is another thing, but your family life is the #1 thing, and it is for Rob.
Okay, so at this point it appears that it's a plan. It was perhaps a plan by Sarah Thomson. It obviously backfired because everyone now is really talking about her and sympathizing with Rob Ford.
Yeah, that's right. And so it's interesting how this unfolded. So this sort of broke yesterday morning at 6 o'clock in the morning. She had posted on her Facebook the previous evening on Thursday. Then the media started picking up on it. We all started reporting it. She went on the air. And that's actually a sort of a footnote to this. If you are an actual sexual assault victim, you do not broadcast your alleged assault on Facebook. You do not then go to every media outlet pretty much in the country.
It undermines
and share your story
if it were to have happened. Absolutely.
That's right. So there's that. And then the constant changing of the story as well. It went from he grabbed my ass to then later on the two counselors coming out and saying, well, she kind of planned it. Then to her talking to two different radio hosts, neither of which time she said she had spoken to a police officer. Goes to City Hall, does a scrum, and then says, I spoke to a police officer and said, well, Rob Ford just grabbed my butt. And the police officer supposedly says, do you want to press charges? None of it adds up.
Yeah, and Sarah Thomson herself, for those outside of Toronto who are unaware, former mayoral candidate.
Yes.
She's been out of the public eye for quite some time.
She has been. So Sarah ran against Rob Ford in the 2010 municipal election. She did eventually drop out because her campaign was fledgling. She was in single digits and she was in a big, heavy debt. So she dropped out. Then she went to go support Rob's biggest rival in the campaign. It was George Smitherman. Now, interestingly, she owns Women's Post magazine. In her Women's Post magazine, when George Smitherman was health minister and all that e-health was going on, she wrote just a scathing article about him, which when we found it on the campaign, she tried to hide it and said, oh, no, that was way back when, but it was horrible. So we were just trying to make the point that, hey, you're saying one thing and then you're jumping into political bed with this guy and, really taking shots at Rob. So she was always very much, nipping at his heels, but she's been away from public life, but has always sort of tried to keep herself in the spotlight.
And this is a prime example.
That's right.
Why is Rob Ford Adrienne always such a target in the city?
He just, well, I'll use his words, you know, it's hard to miss 330 pounds of fun. I know that's it's an easy way to sort of say things about him, but Rob has done things in the city that so many people didn't think he would do. He outsourced garbage, he cut the spending, he cut the budgets, he did stop some of the wasteful stuff. The big thing was the labor contracts that he did. But Rob also is a target because he sometimes is his own worst enemy. He knows that, I know that, we all know that. So he needs to, you know, work on that. But I'll say on this, Caryn, there was absolutely nothing Rob Ford could do in this instance. How do you, it's a he said, she said.
Absolutely.
There was literally nothing he could do.
Except for the hundreds of people who were at the event.
That's right.
And none of which have stood up and backed her.
Not even her assistant, that she was, which was kind of scary. She claims an alleged sexual assault took place. Then she was then prepared to have her assistant go then to Rob and have a picture taken to see if, quote, he'll do it to her too. And then they'll take a picture and then they'll get him in the next election because she wants to be mayor.
Good to have you with us.
My pleasure.
Always appreciate it. Toronto Sun Common Editor Adrienne Batra joining us in studio.